Principal Weeks, Advisor Ms. Rondeau, members of the faculty, parents, and students, welcome to the 2021 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. We are gathered here to formally recognize those students who have been selected by the faculty to our school for successfully completing their candidacy and are being inducted as new members for our NHS chapter. For current members and those former members who may be among our guests, we hope this will serve to remind you of the standards of excellence you too are charged with maintaining as members of the nation's oldest, largest, and most prestigious student recognition program. Our chapter is proud to have been inducting new members since 1957, and with today's ceremony indicates the continuing emphasis on excellence that we represent for our school and community. Throughout the year, members of our chapter serve as role models for other students. In addition to the strong academic records which established the eligibility for membership, our chapter members are leaders in many student organizations, and we serve our school and community through many activities, including working with Student Council for food baskets, the Murdock Locker and Food Pantry, bottle and can redemption drives, and Wreaths Across America at the Veterans Memorial Cemetery. We are proud of this record of accomplishment and welcome these new members who bring new energy in support of our continuing work as NHS members. It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance that membership in the Murdock Chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by these candidates through the effective demonstration of the 4 qualities that serve as standards for the society. Members of the chapter will now review these qualities for the candidates. We begin with scholarship.
Scholarship denotes a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and study, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for human education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life which leads to high success, and it can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, the torch guiding us to understand the present, and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
Service.
My office is service. Service can be established in the routine of the day's work where many opportunities arise to help others both at school and in the community. A willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or public recognition is a quality we seek in our membership and promote for the entire student body. We are committed to volunteering our time and talents to the creation of a better tomorrow.
Leadership.
Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking initiative in the classroom and in school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to reach their common goals of success. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a school, community, or nation, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is a meaningful and substantive charge to each of our members.
Character.
Character is the force within the individual that distinguishes each person from each other. It creates for each of us our individuality, our goodness. It is that without which no one can respect oneself, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character that guides one through life, and once developed, grows steadily within. Character is achieved and not received. It is the product of constant thought and action, the daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be, in reality, what we wish to appear to others, to be rather than to seem, by demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship. We may hope to prove by example that we value character.
At this time, will the new inductees please rise, raise your right hand, and repeat the pledge. The audience can follow the text as printed in your program. Please join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands. And will maintain and encourage. The high standards. Of scholarship, leadership, service, and character. Thank you, and you may be seated. And now, as your name is called, please step forward onto the stage to receive your token of membership and sign the official chapter registry. Angelina Della Santa. My middle school history teacher, Mr. Coleman, was one of the most influential people that I've encountered in my years at Murdock. In 2 short years, Mr. Coleman taught me more about myself and my passions than anyone had before. Although I had him for my 7th grade geography class, we ended up bonding more in my 8th grade medieval history class. Every time I walked into his classroom, I knew that I would be accepted, challenged, and supported through anything that was happening that day. Mr. Coleman taught me a lot about how to persevere and keep pushing forwards towards things that challenge me academically. These skills that I received from him have helped me achieve my strong sense of determination and motivation for my schoolwork. Mr. Coleman did not only help me with my academic skills, but he also gave me an opportunity that I'll be forever grateful for, being an ambassador for Project 351. Mr. Coleman chose me to be Winchendon's ambassador for the program because he could see my potential when it came to act of leadership, responsibility, and helping those around me. We were able to go to Boston for the Project 351 launch convention, where I was exposed to students who were just like me and wanted to do everything in their power to help create change and provide service in our communities. With the help of Mr. Coleman, I led a clothing drive for the organization Cradles to Crayons, and it genuinely sparked my passion for leadership and service in my community. Without Mr. Coleman, I would not have been able to expand my love for servicing others around me in the ways that I do now. Mr. Coleman was always there for me whenever I had a rough day. His calming and sensible advice that I required consistently was essential for me to learn how to conduct myself through difficult situations in the future. He taught me how to manage my time, and he was always willing to sit down, listen to a rant, or hear something I was excited for. Teachers like Mr. Coleman allow students to become entirely comfortable with themselves in a school environment. Without a doubt, Mr. Coleman allowed me to gain confidence in myself and the aspiration. Mr. Coleman does not work at Murdock anymore. He outgrew our little town and moved on to greater opportunities. Although he isn't physically in our school anymore, the lessons and skills that he taught me will always be present as I go on with my education and future. I'll always be grateful for Mr. Coleman. Thank you. Ariana Dibble.
All throughout our education experiences, Whether it be just completing high school or moving on to college, we wonder why we are here. We wonder why we are learning and how anything that we've learned can apply to our real lives. I know a few people who still don't know what the overall purpose of school is, but I was lucky enough to realize the reason for learning at a pretty young age. While I am unaware of how she was able to accomplish something that proves to be so difficult time and time again, my second grade teacher showed me just how much of an impact school could have on my life. When I first started school, I really struggled, not only to find and make friends, but academically as well. In every single subject, I seemed to fall behind, no matter how much practice I put in at school or at home. I was embarrassed that I couldn't understand the material that we were learning, so I just started to give up on school. Everything changed, though, when I met Mrs. Paul, my second grade teacher. From the moment I entered her classroom, she realized that I had some work to do, but that I didn't have to do it alone. From then on, she became not only my favorite teacher, but my second grade best friend. Mrs. Paul helped me build confidence in myself, which in turn helped me gain confidence in everything that I do. This newfound confidence I adopted showed me that I could be more than just some adequate numbers on a page. When I entered middle and high school, I started to involve myself in almost every after-school activity that I could. This is where I found myself entering student council and theater, which had become major parts of my life. I found in these that not only could I make a person smile, but that I could actually make a difference while doing so. When I was younger, believing in myself and all the things that I could do seemed like an out-of-distance dream. But I know now that that could not be further from the truth. A teacher in the second grade took my hand and showed me that I could find the path to having faith in myself and that I did not have to do it alone. Words cannot describe how grateful I am for this teacher who taught me that believing in yourself is the most valuable thing that you can learn. And with that, I thank Mrs. Paul, my second grade teacher, for believing in me. Thank you.
Tiana Gressel. From teachers to leaders, there are many people who have been constantly influencing me throughout my life. However, there's been one person in particular who has influenced me more than anyone I know, and that is my father. Whether it be directly or indirectly, I always seem to be learning something new, and he never seems to fail in turning most of life's little events into big lessons. It's also in the pillars that I find many of the lessons fit into. With character, my father has always stuck it in my brain to be positive. Sure, the other sentiments of be a nice person and help others were there, but positivity has always stood out above the rest. I never truly thought of myself as a positive person, at least no more than most people. But in growing up, I saw more and more that that wasn't true. The happiness of adolescence is fleeting, and the real world is much darker in comparison. However, it was thanks to this constant reminder to stay positive early on in life that it's now become a part of who I am. Leadership has been more indirectly taught by my father over the years. He owned a business a while back and has carried on that employer-like attitude to this day. Within the topic of leadership, the lesson of responsibility has constantly come up. He wanted to be his own boss, so of course the idea of improving yourself to help yourself and others was alluded to. It is through these stories that I was able to learn a lot about my father and his previous endeavors. Why he left Hawaii, how he came here, what happened before I was born. It's all really quite fascinating. But through it all, the grit and determination that my father displayed when he was younger stayed with him to this day. And through him, I am also able to learn how to better myself so that I can hopefully lead and influence those around me. In a positive way, of course. Service is one of the smaller lessons in life that I've learned from him. It's not like we go on great service projects together, although that does sound fun now that I think about it. However, there's been one incident that really made me think, so this is the type of man my father is. It's very short and simple. We saw an ASPCA ad on TV to which my father mentioned that he donates to the ASPCA every month. How long this had been going on for, I had no idea.
This may seem like quite a boring anecdote, but to me at the time, this was a great surprise. For someone who has usually emphasized the importance of saving money, to be donating a good amount of that money felt pretty revelatory. This incredibly small incident helped me realize that although saving money is important, it's equally as important to donate what you can. And although I don't have any money to donate, I'm hoping that I can donate more of my time and effort to help in a similar way to how my father has. Finally, scholarship has been a big part of my life for as long as I can remember, and I think I can attribute that love of learning to my dad. I was enrolled in a Head Start program when I was really young and was always rewarded for getting good grades or recognitions. Learning at an early age became not only a mindset of mine, but a way to receive praise. So this is what happens when you work hard, was often my thought process. And I have not only my father, but my mother to thank for this, as such a mindset has helped me grow in more ways than I can imagine. My father has also influenced me in this regard about the importance of academics. For whatever reason, the importance of academics has been subtly stressed throughout my school career. This never bothered me, for the prospect of lower grades also made me quite wary. But only when I got older did I start seeing the full picture. At about 14, I talked about getting a job. I fully realized that I couldn't at the time and was just thinking about the future. Both my parents got jobs when they were really young, so you could say I was influenced in that regard. But my father didn't exactly like the idea. It's like he was saying, do what you want, but I don't think you should. It was only until later did I see that it was due to my academics that he thought I shouldn't. You will work for the rest of your life, but for right now you are a student, was playing in the back of my mind. Now, although I still want to get a job and the warnings flew right over my head the first time, the sentiment is still there. It is through my father that I now see that it's not just about the academics, although that is still a large part of it, but also the wisdom and achievement one gets from learning, and that by focusing and following this path, I will be able to do great things when I'm older. Thank you.
Abigail Guerra. A person who has inspired me and made me who I am today is my grandma. She spent most of her life as a second grade teacher at Memorial here in Winchendon. To me, she was the kindest person I ever knew who could change your day with just her smile. She motivated me to do my homework, keep up the good grades, and be a kind-hearted person every day. Due to her wit, sweetness, and guidance, she's become a major influence in not only my life but also in the lives of others. While already being a mother, grandmother, teacher, and wife, she also meant so much to her students and friends. One time when she was in the hospital, she had a nurse come in and immediately get excited that she saw her second grade teacher. The nurse was the new kid at school and got bullied. My grandmother helped her overcome her learning problems because she was farther behind than the other kids and stopped her bullying. The nurse never forgot her face because of how she greatly affected her life. From this point on, I knew that I wanted to be able to lead people into life to live better lives than I did, whether indirectly such as volunteer work or directly by helping those that need a push forward. Another moment that inspired me was her funeral. Both rooms were and all the seats were filled, along with some people having to stand. I didn't know at this moment, but this would be one of the most memorable funerals I would ever attend. We spent almost 2 hours going around the room because everyone had a positive or special moment where she had improved their lives. My story with her consists of many memories. She never wanted me to quit or give up. When I had questions about my homework, I would call her on the phone so she could answer the questions I had. This pushed me to never give up and do the best that I can even when times are challenging. I want to spend my life not focused on myself, but focused on helping others and improve theirs. I don't want to give up knowing that I could have changed that person's outcome. She's encouraged me to volunteer at the food pantry, excel in school, and be an example to others on how to live, and be patient and consistent in showing kindness to others. Even if I was just a sliver of what she meant to everyone, I'd be satisfied with my life. Thank you. Camille Hart.
My mother is one of the greatest influences of who I am. As I continue to grow up, she shows me exactly what I aspire to be. She is one of the kindest, most selfless people I've ever met, and I've been lucky enough to be raised by her. She didn't just tell me the cliche mom lines like treat others the way you want to be treated or treat everyone kindly, but she showed and demonstrated exactly how to do it. My mother lives quite the hectic life. 4 years ago, she became pregnant with my now younger sister, and 2 years ago, she became pregnant again with my younger brother. During her pregnancy with my sister, she also decided to enroll into law school. I had to see my mother, day after day, push herself to the absolute limits to succeed to her own perfect standards. She works endlessly to provide for my families, take care of her kids, while also balancing her work and education. My mother greets everyone she knows, sparks conversations, and never fails to put a smile on someone's face. I swear, if we were ever out and about, pre-COVID of course, we would always get stuck somewhere because of her connections and relationships with others. Not only does my mother do all of these things, but she also never fails to encourage me to do them as well. When I told her I was first going to run for student council all the way back in middle school, she was all for it. She is always there to support me. She shows me what it truly means to be able to rely on someone, even if it's just for a little support. I can thank her for showing me who I can become and pushing me to be my best self possible. Thank you.
Moketsi Malai.
The teachers that you remember for the longest are the ones that have a lasting impact on your life. I think that Miss Daniels will be one of those teachers. Miss Daniels has influenced me by making me a better student and person, and she has influenced me in the pillars of scholarship, character, leadership, and service. She is the type of teacher that genuinely cares about her students and wants to see them succeed. She will try to make sure that every student is getting the most out of their education and are actively learning and participating. Ms. Daniels has helped me, along with other students, build their pillar of leadership by making sure that everyone has their time in a conversation to drive the direction that it goes in. The way that she structures her class discussions makes it so that students have the same opportunities to drive the conversation and get the opportunity to express their opinions. Scholarship is another pillar that Miss Daniels really drives home. She strives to make sure that her students are trying their hardest to get the best grades they can. She tries her hardest to make her classes enjoyable for her students and to help them get the most out of their education. The assignments that she gives and the feedback that she gives on the assignments makes it so students understand what they need to do to succeed. Ms. Daniels influenced me in the pillars of character and service because she shows the best way to connect and help people. She has a personal connection with her students and really cares about them and always makes sure to know if I am doing okay and how I'm handling my other classes because she wants to know and help her students. Ms. Daniels is an inspirational educator because she influenced me in the pillars of scholarship, character, leadership, and service in a way that shaped the person who I am today. Thank you.
Taylor Patterson.
I've been going to Murdock since 6th grade, and ever since middle school, I've always wanted to make my class the best it could possibly be. I participated in student council and helped out with activities around the school. When I got into high school, I was really nervous and somewhat intimidated for not knowing what to expect. One of the first weeks of school, my new world history teacher, Mr. Burney, had a meeting with my class telling us about class officers. I knew that I wanted to be a part of this because I love being seen as a leader, and this seemed like something I'd be interested in. Mr. Burney was very supportive and encouraging in my decision, and he helped our small group of class officers start off. Freshman year, Mr. Burney started many fundraisers with us and showed us what it was like to be an officer. He taught me to be a role model towards others and to always take pride in my work. He's made sure that I've always put 100% into my work so that I could excel and be the best that I could be. Mr. Burney is a caring, dedicated, and fun teacher who has taught me to cherish the memories we make here at school. I now have Mr. Burney again this year for AP US History as a junior. I was excited when I saw that he was teaching the class because I love having him as a teacher. He knows my study habits, along with my peers, making the class always go smoothly. Mr. Burney has made these last few years of high school the best they could be. Even if we had a lot of time away from school over the last year, with all the different fundraisers we have done, Mr. Burney has shown me the importance of community service and why it is so beneficial in one's career. He's a great teacher and mentor and has made me into the leader I am today. Thank you.
Maria Vecchiarello.
Switching high schools is hard. Leaving your old life, your old teachers, and everything you once knew makes it dreadful. We expect the worst when leaving everything behind, but I never prepared myself for the overwhelming amount of joy I would find here at Murdock. This happiness and academic success would not have been achieved without my friends, family, and my high school history teacher, Mr. Burney. Looking back on my first day here, Mr. Burney proved to me this new school would be my home. He immediately made me feel welcomed, and right away, I knew his world history class would be the class I looked forward to every day. Mr. Burney could always tell when I was having an off day, and with that, he took my struggles and found ways for me to make them a strength. My outgoing character came alive in world history, and so did my success. His class made it extremely easy for me to be my bubbly self while also obtaining the content. Even when I had trouble, I never hesitated to ask questions. Mr. Burney's accepting attitude allowed me to become a scholar not only through his class, but my other classes as well. Outside of school, I felt motivated to get involved in my community. Key Club was the most perfect fit for me. I have always found happiness in helping others, and it was something I was meant to do. The advisors of the club happened to be Mr. Burney and Miss Plant, who both impacted the way I would see service and leadership. Ronald Reagan once said, "The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things." With Key Club, the advisors were the people who motivated me to be the change I hope to see in the community. Without having the opportunity to be a part of this club, I really believe my high school experience would have been very different. The support I received in world history, Key Club, the presidency, and AP US History from Mr. Burney not only benefited me in his classes, but his support ultimately got me through my sophomore and now junior year. Sometimes it is so easy to give up. With all the pressure, it can be draining to continue. However, Mr. Burney never doubted me for a second, and I could proudly say my invitation to NHS would not have been possible without him. Although I may not remember every detail from the Progressive Era, Andrew Jackson, or the Cold War, I will always remember how you showed me the importance of being yourself, giving back, and giving everything your all. My progress is never ending, and I feel so fortunate to have a teacher like Mr. Burney, who has shown me the way to success. Thank you.
Cassie Zoldak.
First off, I would like to say congratulations to my fellow peers who have also been accepted into the National Honor Society. This is a reflection of all of our hard work throughout high school and a continuation of being involved within Murdock and the community that follows. Throughout my years being at Murdock, I have noticed that obtaining close bonds with the staff and those involved in Murdock's community comes easily. Everyone knows how to make you feel a sense of belonging and wants to see nothing but the best from you. However, the one that stands out the most, and the person who I gained the most inspiration from, is Miss Politsky. To me, being a teacher doesn't necessarily mean someone whose class you have to attend every day, but instead someone who highlights and enhances one's performance in character, leadership, service, and scholarship. In regards to character, Miss Politsky has always advocated that someone who attends and is involved within this school is one that represents the name and reputation of Murdock. She's taught me that whether you're hosting or attending a school function, you must always be courteous and have concern for those around you, since we as the students ultimately define Murdock. Character comes hand in hand with leadership, because to be a good leader, you must have character. Since Miss Politsky is also my cheerleading coach, she builds our character to prepare us for the leadership aspects of our sport. As cheerleaders, we are heavily involved in the representation and spirit of our school and must lead an example of how responsibility and pride are shown. Ms. Politsky has been extremely inspirational in these aspects, and with this has helped me shape me into the student I am today. In regards to service, Ms. Politsky is always getting us as cheerleaders in community engagement and has us actively partake in functions such as the summer solstice. Whether it's hanging up bows around the town or handing out candy during the parade, she teaches and inspires the involvement within the town. To conclude my praise for all that Ms. Politsky has taught me, I believe the most important pillar she enhances and teaches is scholarship. Every time we receive progress or report cards, she has us bring them down to her office and show her how we're doing, because a good coach always preaches how your education comes before your sport. If she saw that one of us was falling behind, she always suggested that we come together as a team to help one another study, or even have us tutor each other in classes that we were lacking skills. Ms. Politsky has pushed me to be the very best student and athlete I can be, and inspires me every day to fulfill the expectations that are involved with each of the 4 pillars required. Thank you.
And now, please welcome our principal, Mrs. Weeks, who will offer congratulatory remarks to the new members. Good evening, everyone. To our students, the administration, teachers, parents, and other supporters watching our ceremony tonight and in the days that follow. Congratulations on your induction to the Murdock High School chapter of the National Honor Society. As part of your induction this evening, you're not just a part of an honor roll, but of a greater community of support in your journey to future success. I myself am a member of NHS, inducted way back in 2001, and like many of you, began my transition to adulthood in a time of panic, fear, and uncertainty. I graduated high school in the summer of 2001, full of hope and ambition, ready to take on the world and leave home for the first time to enter college in Worcester. A week into my new journey, the Twin Towers fell and America would never again be the same, nor would my college experience. While I can't say I immediately drew upon the 4 pillars of NHS at that time, service, leadership, scholarship, and character, I can honestly say that those pillars became my driving force and the driving force of a generation in the days and weeks that followed those 9/11 attacks. In the moments after the towers fell, I immediately called my parents, the friends I had in the Metro New York area, and then sprinted to my college commons. There I joined with my fellow student council members and members of the faculty, and we together made a plan. Though this plan wouldn't last more than a few hours before more were made, we at least had something. We wanted to protect each other, help those from the New York area contact family, and if nothing else, pray together. My 4 years at college followed those same path as did those pillars. For each of those pillars, ask a person to be more than oneself. The author Toni Morrison said, "The function of freedom is to free someone else." And with these pillars, you do just that. For in service, you look beyond the bonds that hold yourself and consider bonds that may hold a greater community. You look towards a greater good and find an avenue to help. In leadership, you dig into these passions you may have developed in your commitment to service, and then uncover avenues to gather others to help support your cause. Here you find opportunities for growth, for humility, and to develop your skills as an astute leader. In the book Bird by Bird, Annie Lamont digs into the writing process and crafts a compelling argument for the power of the written word. She says, "Hope begins in the dark. The stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do the right thing, the dawn will come. You wait and watch and you work and you don't give up." This type of stubborn hope of just showing up speaks to the traits of character and scholarship that NHS personifies. Some days, most days in fact over the last year, it's become easier and easier to not show up, to hide away under the covers and just phone it in. Nothing in this world is as it was. Friendships have changed, schooling has changed. Even once mundane tasks like grocery shopping, going to a dentist appointment have changed. But none of you here today gave up that stubborn hope. You continued being the people you were previous to the pandemic, and you kept showing up. You showed up strong to your classes. You navigated the waters of remote learning, Zoom boxes, and Google Classroom turn-ins.
And for that, tonight we celebrate your induction into the Society of Scholars. I am so proud of each and every one of you, and know that as you continue your journeys here at Murdock and beyond, that even when the days of this pandemic are in your rearview mirror, that you will move forward with each of these 4 pillars guiding your path. Thank you all tonight, and I am so proud of each of you.
I'd like to thank our advisor, Ms. Rondeau, and Mr. Collins for their hard work in organizing this year's induction ceremony. Thank you for all attending our NHS induction ceremony.